Welcome into the Daily News WCRD post-game extra for men's volleyball. Ball State drops a heartbreaker tonight, Vinny. 3-0 to George Mason. Previously unranked, we might see the Patriots creep into the rankings depending on how they do against Ohio State. But overall, a very disappointing night for the Cardinals.
Yeah, highly disappointing. Talking to a lot of the Ball State players and coaching staff, they were really upset with the performance tonight. Ethan Feaster said that the team just played absolutely timid as they were out-hit by George Mason, and he said that Ball State will never ever play like this the way they did tonight. That's how frustrated he was with it.
Yeah, really, it boils down to guys like Ethan Feaster and Billy Ebel, along with some of the other players. Just the passing was not on at all from the very beginning. No crisp passes, and then the errors, compounding mistakes. You just really can't do that against a team like George Mason. They really capitalized.
Right, and one of the biggest things, though, about that was the team just didn't seem to have that typical Ball State energy that they're able to bring to most games. Usually they had it in spurts, but tonight they just didn't seem to have that at all. The crowd wasn't into it that much, and when that stuff happens, compounds with the errors, it just makes for a long, difficult night, or a short night, I should say.
Yeah, it was a very short night, and you talk about the crowd a little bit. Only about 700 people came to this match. It was a Thursday night match. Kind of questionable what crowd was going to come out. I think that really had an impact. The team came out flat to begin the match. The crowd never got into it. It's the smallest crowd that I've seen here in quite some time. I mean, how much of an impact does the crowd have?
I think it has a huge impact, and covering this team, they get excited for the big games, so they get excited for the big crowds. UCLA last year, you had 3,700 people there in attendance. They played big. Even the Stanford game, they were still able to come out and play much better than they did tonight, even though they got swept in that one also.
Look completely flat. George Mason, 13 team blocks. That's absolutely absurd. 7 of which came in game 3, closing it out. Ball State really never had a chance. Their biggest lead at any one point in this match or in any game, 2 points. And that was in game 1. You can't do that and try to beat a team. You got to win by 2. Your biggest lead can't be 2. You can get away with it from time to time, but not in a match like this, especially when you look at guys for George Mason like Eric Lanham. He went 7 of 7 for George Mason, really getting it done. Vinny, who is the most valuable player to you on George Mason's team?
I definitely think it has to be Chris Grammett. With the way that guy played match high in kills, he actually absolutely was able to take over the game at certain times. He looked very impressive. And for Ball State, you just didn't have that guy who was able to step up tonight. At times you had Todd Chamberlain, at times you had Dominic Spevich, but every time they seemed to take a hold of that game, George Mason would come in, they just get a huge kill to kill that momentum.
One thing we've always talked about on our broadcast is J.D. Gasparovic seems to get the big kill at the big time. None of that today. Anytime George Mason needed a kill, they got it. Anytime they needed a dig when Ball State was about to get a kill, Todd Chamberlain or Matt McCarthy, they dug it out, kept things alive. George Mason won the long points. They did every little thing right to win this match. And you know what? It's going to be a quick turnaround for the Cardinals as they've got Rutgers Newark Friday night at 7:30 p.m. We'll see how that one shakes out. And that'll do it for this edition of the Daily News WCRD Post Game Extra.